Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis is escalating his battle with Disney. The company was vocal in its opposition to Florida's new controversial parental rights in education law, which says teachers cannot hold classroom instruction about sexual orientation or gender identity into kindergarten through third grade.
Never did that anyway, but
wondering
whatever.
Which classes were doing that?
If you got them, smoke them, I guess, Ron. If you got them, smoke them.
That's a good way to poke the Democrats. In response to Disney's criticism of the law, DeSantis has now asked Florida lawmakers to strip the company of its self-governing power. Disney has had special status since 1968, essentially giving the company the legal right to operate under its own government at Walt Disney World in Central Florida. The move could leave Disney on the hook for millions of dollars a year in local taxes and with less autonomy over its property. But Senate Democrats in Florida say the bill to strip Disney of those powers would actually come at a massive cost to taxpayers who live near the park. Florida Senate Minority Leader Gary Farmer says 2 counties would have to pick up nearly $1 billion in debt.
$1 billion?
That tax bill could amount to thousands of dollars per household.
Let's bring it right on National Reporter for NBC News, Mark Caputo. Mark, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with these Florida politicians, but Rick Scott, he proposes a bill that's going to raise taxes on working and middle-class Americans, and now you got Ron DeSantis. First of all, for you and me who followed Florida politics a long time, it's bizarre for politicians to be going after Disney, but also he's doing it in a way that could end up costing taxpayers millions of dollars.
I think, first of all, I should start off by saying I was wrong. I think the last time I was on the show and we were talking about this, I was like, oh, they're not going to go after Disney's special district. Well, they are. I flew up to Tallahassee. No, I got off the plane. God. And when I got off the plane, I looked at the expanded call for the legislative session. They're talking about redistricting here. They're voting on DeSantis' maps, and lo and behold, there it is. Yeah, I must admit, I don't quite know who to believe here. I mean, the reality is Disney's got a lot of property that does not get taxed because they're essentially their own government. So that is kind of a fat cash cow for local governments and Orange and Osceola to tax. But to your point, to Senator Gary Farmer's point, to Disney's point, they do have a lot of bond debt. And if you wind up dissolving that and taxpayers wind up assuming that, how does that get paid for? This is part of the problem of deciding legislation on the fly and legislation in revenge. I do think that DeSantis and company know that, however. Understand that built into the bill that'll probably be voted out of the legislature in kind of a record time tomorrow is the fact that the special taxing district, if it goes away, it's called the Reedy Creek Improvement District, actually. If it goes away, would go away in June of 2023. So that gives an entire year for them to kind of make amends or decide, you know what, we don't want to do this, or for Disney to grovel or whatever. Understand, like in the past, Democrats didn't like the Reedy Creek Improvement District. They thought it was a boondoggle. A lot of people have criticized it. In fact, Carl Hiaasen, the Florida humorist and novelist, the original Florida man, he had written an entire book trashing Disney called Team Rodent. I talked to Carl Hiaasen yesterday, and he said, one of the problems with this, I don't know if I can say what he was saying. One of the problems with this dispute, I'll say he said that, one of the problems with the dispute between DeSantis and Disney is you don't know who to root against more, DeSantis or Disney. So that's kind of his position, and it's a complicated one. And again, it's probably not one that you'd want to decide very quickly in 2 days. That's why legislators are kind of going through this performative aspect of it, saying we're going to take this away. Right. But in reality, there's a year's time to reconsider it, to kind of sober up, maybe.
It's so performative. Everything is so performative. It's crazy. So what I guess I don't understand, Mark, is the fact that here we have DeSantis, and again, it's performative politics, just like Donald Trump majored in performative politics. But in this case, in the state of Florida, at least, Disney has been at the center, not just politically, but culturally and just about every other way. Is this massive economic engine for 50 years now. And I understand there's a pitched Twitter battle. I understand the extremes on both sides are like fighting this out. But I can tell you, like, and you know this, for people in my neighborhood, for kids that go to my children's school, for millions and millions of Floridians, Disney is still Disney. The Magic Kingdom is still the Magic Kingdom. Does Ron DeSantis really want to do this to gain a couple of cheap political points on Twitter? And that's not a rhetorical question. It doesn't really make good political sense. Because I can tell you, even in the most conservative areas of Florida, kids and parents still love Disney.
Well, so far, DeSantis has shown a knack for turning lots of fights into lots of small dollar donations. So maybe it's not worth the Twitter fight, but it's probably worth the money. He's raised more than $100 million for his reelection. He might not even be able to spend all of that money in his reelection in November. So on the performative stuff, yeah, it does seem to be pretty profitable for him from a campaign perspective. How long is this going to last? I don't know. As I just said, like, this is going to possibly last for another year. And where this goes from here, considering I was already drastically wrong about them not ever taking up the Reedy Creek Improvement District, I'm not going to predict what's going to happen in the future.
All right. NBC's Mark Caputo, thank you so much for reporting. Willie.